Love, hope, charity. 3 entities, each unto itself a lifetime ambition, a goal of noble undertaking. Each leads the traveler to a destination of plutonic love for your fellow man. Once obtained, even the worst of us can be saved through our own efforts. The worst in us can be held back, allowing compassion to dominate in a world filled with selfish greed. Even when greed seems all-encompassing, it's what's in our hearts that keeps greed from taking over in entirety. The lesson I've learned in my travels is that everyone, anyone, regardless of what they've done to you, what they threaten to do to you, anyone can be redeemed, if only the Redeemer is strong enough. If what's in our hearts proves to be true, nothing is impossible. Even though a situation may still seem impossible when we're in the midst of fate's greatest challenge. Captain MT, it has been a while, hasn't it? I never knew you liked to ice skate. I've got to warn you, though, you're on pretty thin ice, as far as I can tell. Be careful you don't fall in, because on this lake, Captain, there ain't anyone around to rescue ya. We's on our own here.
From one cliché to another, Bunson. People who live in glass houses.
You can play football in a glass house, Captain, even with a brick, so long as you are aware of your surroundings. The question is, are you aware of yours?
Time, space, dimensions, they are all the same, Bunson. All are subject to my will. Whatever I say is.
You knows, Captain, a while back I kind of felt sorry for you. A product of an experiment gone haywire. One day he walks out of his world and finds another, then another, and another, and another. I used to say to myself that Captain MT must have thought he was the product of some grand plan to be part of a multiverse the way he is. Then he finds out he was created to be on a dinner table some Thanksgiving day. What a blow that must have been to his ego. So, in a way, I can kinda understand your grudge against me. It's not like I've been the best bear ever spawned. But what's been going on lately? That goes so far beyond a personal grudge. What you's been doing are crimes against life. I may have walked the line of hubris, but you's not only walked that line, but kicked it into the cornfield. There ain't no excuse for what you's doing to all my friends and family. There ain't no excuse for what you's planning on doing to all of creation. In short, Captain, there's no excuse for you.
Bunson, do you know the best thing about a conversation like this? You only have to have it once. All I've got to do is walk over to your past self, tap him on the shoulder, and you cease to exist.
I's not the only one, Captain. You'll cease to exist as well.
Yes, depriving the universe of my presence may very well be a crime against life, but it's a sacrifice a noble creature like me must make to save all of creation from you. Little kittens, monster beasts, idiot friends with an armload of salt, or a little giraffe who likes to tinker with toys more than lives. You've had no right bouncing around all of eternity, Bunson. If the ending of my existence saves all of creation from you and your insane friends trying to make everyone happy, it's a sacrifice I am glad to make.
I's knew you was far gone, Captain, but I's ain't thought you were out of your head. You've totally lost it, Captain MT. B-Machine, engage! Welcome to the Valley of Fire, Captain MT. Now that we's away from my past self, and the damage you are trying to inflict on the time stream, I's got a few things to say to you. Since the Valley of Fire exists outside of time, we's got all the time in the world to talk about them. I's got something to say to you, Captain, and you's better listen, 'cause if you don't, I've only got one choice left in what to do with yous. So, open them ears and open them wide. Now, I knows you don't come from the most stable of environments. You weren't created under ideal conditions. I'll admit it. Yous was created in a misguided attempt of mine to sell sea turkeys for Thanksgiving dinner. Things didn't go as planned. Sea geese were created instead. Then some sort of evolutionary process took hold and made the geese smarter than me. That all produced you, Captain. Yous is my fault. What you do is my fault. Because when it all comes down to, as your papa, I should take you over my knee and give you a whopping. But you's too old for that kind of treatment. You's not a child. You's a grown alien. You should already know that for everything you do there is a response. Besides, what good ever came from one person hitting another in any fashion? A horrid practice, if you ask me.
You might as well just lay one across my face, Bunson, because no matter where you put me, no matter who you place as my jailer, I will escape. I will return to enact my revenge upon you, your friends, and your entire existence as well. Time is on my side, don't you forget. I come from a realm where 50,000 years is like a minute. I've got all of time in my little pinky. I can wait, Bunson. I can wait forever if in the end my revenge is complete.
Yeah, I know. Do I ever know? It's a problem I've been wrestling with for a while. But before I do or say anything regarding your future, listen here, MT. You's not come from a stable environment. You weren't created under the best conditions. But let me point out one teeny tiny little thing to you. Who is? Who's born under the best conditions, MT? How many babies are born out of wedlock? To a single mother. To parents who can't afford it. How many babies come into the world guaranteed that they are gonna be taken care of their entire lives? Nobody is born with that kind of guarantee, Captain. Life is a crapshoot. We're born into a situation that may be good or bad. We may be born to wealth, but that don't mean we's always gonna be wealthy. Or we may be born poor, but that don't mean we's never gonna have money. Or we may be an orphan, but that don't mean we'll never have a family of our own. All's I trying to say, Captain, is this. Just because your past ain't so grand, that don't mean your future has to be miserable too. Your life is what you make it. If yous don't keep up as you has been, if you man up and take responsibility for your actions, for your past, not try to erase it all, then you can finally get over all this sea turkey nonsense and start living your life and not spend it ruining others. Do you get what I'm trying to say, Captain?
Bunson, you've spent time around the beast. You've met the kitten. Your immersion into the outer realms of existence is minimal. There are things unknown to you. You're operating under a very limited understanding of creation. In short, your lips are moving, but you aren't saying a darn thing.
That may be, Captain, but I's not giving up just yet. Giant mutant monster beast. Cue display.
Look, Jill, why don't we talk about it tonight? I'll pick you up early. Around 7:30, we'll go to an early show and... Come on, Jill, don't look so serious.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, Dave. I can't go out with you tonight.
What gives anyway? You got a family party on or something?
No, it's nothing to do with the family. I don't know how to say this, Dave, but... I'm dating Jimmy Dawson.
Give me that again?
I'm dating Jimmy Dawson.
That show off? Who thinks he's such a big football hero? What's the idea? You falling for his phony shoulders or something?
He asked me to go out with him, that's all, and I said I would.
What about the little matter of going steady with me?
I decided it's time we broke up. It's stupid for kids our age to keep going out with the same person year after year.
I guess your mother thought up that line.
She did not. I can make up my own mind. Look, I told Jimmy that I'd meet him after school this afternoon. He's waiting for me right down over by the corner, so I'd better go now.
I guess a guy has to have a car to impress a girl like you. Along with some phony shoulders. Well, your boyfriend better watch out. Because he might meet a guy with a Cadillac someday. And then where'll he be?
Western, we still have a mathematical chance of getting in the playoffs.
How come?
Well, you see, we're one game up on them now.
What are you going to
do? Our games with Lincoln High. Western still has a game with them.
And they haven't beaten Lincoln all year.
That's right. That's what I say.
Isn't that how?
Yeah. Pretty good guy, don't he?
Hi, fellas.
Oh, Dave, how's it going?
Man, lousy English exam, old man Peterson sprung on us today, huh?
Yeah, lousy is right. I never even knew there was such a thing as George and poets. How was I supposed to name him?
I put down George. I figured there ought to be at least one Georgian poet named George.
Boy, Peterson will get you for that. He's still mad about the time you brought him the bunch of daffodils after we studied that poem about daffodils by Wordsworth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peterson's crazy about me.
Hey, is that the new sophomore?
Yeah. You never guessed she was only 14.
Telling me. Wow.
Say, Dave, what happened to your steady? There she is with Jim Dawson.
You had a fight? Dawson has a car, and boy, does it ever impress that doll.
Yeah, it's those flashy white wall tires that send her, man.
She wants to get into the big time, Davy boy. Captain of the football team and all that.
Well, I was getting kind of sick of her anyway. That Dawson, what a show-off. You know, he really thinks he's somebody? Well, as far as I'm concerned, they deserve each other.
Hey, Dave, how come you didn't turn out to football practice all week?
Because I quit the crummy team, that's why. Coach, he doesn't know what he's doing, and the team's going downhill so fast it isn't even funny. I'm going over to see what gives with the new doll.
Did you hear about Dave? Coach left him on the bench during the whole of last Saturday's game. Boy, was Dave mad. He quit the team right the next day.
He hasn't anything to be sore about. He thinks the team can't get along without him. He's kidding himself. And let's face it, he's just not that good.
Well, they beat us 3 out of 4, but we're a lot better than we were then. They hit their peak just about that time, and I don't think they've gotten any better.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Joe.
Oh, hi. Boy, I'm really outnumbered now. I gotta go, Jill. I'll see you tonight. About 8?
Sure, it'll be fine, Jim.
So long.
Bye.
I thought you went steady with Dave Forsythe.
We broke up. Gee, I always thought Dave was cute. He's okay. He acts like a kid, though. But he's so funny in class. You should go out with him, then you wouldn't think all those wild tricks were so funny.
I always thought Dave acted like a kid, too. You can only take so much of that fooling around.
Honest, he's like a big baby the way he shows off. You should have seen him last Monday in the hall at school.
Hey, Dawson, I'd like to speak to you for a minute.
Sure, Dave.
I guess you think you're pretty smart playing up to the coach last Saturday and getting him to leave me out of the game.
Oh, now, wait a minute. You got your wires crossed, boy.
Who are you trying to kid? I saw you talking to the coach just before the game, and I could see you looking straight at me. Pretty dirty trick fixing it so I couldn't play.
Dave, for Pete's sake.
We were talking about the new play, Dave. We didn't mention you once.
Oh, come off it, Forsythe. You know, it's possible the coach doesn't think you're good enough.
I know a dirty deal when I see one.
Ah, you're nuts.
It was awful. I was so embarrassed I nearly died. This wasn't the first time that Dave acted like that either. I was really fed up. And Well, Jimmy asked me to go out with him a couple of days later, and I thought it'd be terrific. He's so nice. Well, he acts his age. Are you going to go steady with Jimmy now? Oh, I don't know. This is the first time I've gone out with him.
I don't blame you for telling Dave off. He's an awful mama's boy. Gee, I gotta be going.
Yeah, me too.
Can't you say excuse me to your mother for being late?
I'm sorry, Mom. Excuse me.
Your mother can't keep dinner waiting just because you feel like hanging around the streets a little longer.
I said I was sorry, didn't I?
It's just another indication of your constant thoughtlessness and irresponsibility.
Say, Dad, do you think I could have the car tonight? I'll take real good care of it, and I'll fill it up with gas when I bring it back.
What do you want with the car?
Gee, Dad, girls won't go out with a fella unless he's got a car.
Take Jill Anderson out long enough without a car.
Well, she left me for a guy with a car.
Who's that, dear?
Oh, that crummy show-off, Jim Dawson.
He's a good boy, young Dawson. And I understand from his father that he saved his money and bought that car himself.
Dad, are you going to let me have the car or not?
No, I am not. You're too young to be running around in cars at night with girls.
I'm 16, aren't I? I've got a license. What's the sense of having a license if you can't drive the car?
Why don't you let him use it this once, Fred? It's true. Boys nowadays need cars to take girls out. All the mothers say so. Why, this afternoon at Lucy Fillmore's, they were saying that...
Look, Lila, you know I need that car in my work. Now, if he got in an accident, what would I do? Anyway, what does he do with all the money he makes at the grocery store? Let him save his money and buy a car, just like young Dawson.
All I ever hear around here is money. I'm getting sick and tired of it. I never get to do anything the other kids do. And the excuse you always give me is money.
All right, that's about enough, young man. I didn't come home from a hard day's work just to get impertinence from you.
You always treat me as though I were about 6 years old.
That's because you act like you were 6 years old.
Fred!
Lila, something has got to be done about that boy. Dave, may I come in? Dave, I'm sorry about our argument, but I wish you'd try to see my point of view about this car business. Look, since you won't be with the team Saturday, how'd you like to see the game with me?
No, thank you.
What do you mean, no, thank you? Look, I've heard about all I can take from a young brat like you. Despite your bad behavior, I came up here and tried to be friends. I even apologized. You didn't even try to respond like a human being. Something's going to be done about you.
Well, give me a fight.
Give me a fight, too.
Did I hurt you?
It serves you right for asking me.
Where you going? You going to go for a ride with me?
No.
Oh, come on. Okay. Here we go?
Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
10 minutes.
Oh, yes, Mr. Anderson. What's that?
How did Dave get into a situation like this? It seems impossible. But Dave was emotionally unstable. He didn't think straight about what he was doing. Why can't Dave face facts and accept life as it is? Why does he have such an exaggerated idea of his own importance and ability that he can't see things as they are? Because he can't fit the real world into his unreal idea of how it should be, he is so frustrated that he loses control of himself. With help, Dave can learn to control these emotions and develop more mature attitudes. But how could his emotional instability have been prevented?
Don't you see, Captain, how you were created? Your early life isn't your fault. You were created and raised under an umbrella of uncertainty, then disappointment. But that doesn't mean that your life always has to be one of grief, of regret, of sadness. Why, look at what you've become. Yes, you may have started out in life as the product of one of my horrid and past experiments, but you've become something of a master of the universe. You've captained the spaceship. You travel through dimensions like others walk through doors. You can go anywhere you want, anytime you want, with very few limits. You started out life in a bad way, yeah, but look what you've made out of the sad beginning. The only thing that's holding you back from a lifetime of happiness is you. Just admit the mistakes you've made, make them right again, and answer for the wrongs you've done. Once it's all finished, you can start on a new life, a better life, a happy life.
Are you quite finished, Bunson?
For the moment, yeah.
As I told you before your ridiculous movie, you have wet your feet in eternity, but until you've nearly drowned in it, you'll never understand what you've stumbled into. The events of the recent past may have only been a year for you, but during that time I've aged eons. I've not only drowned in eternity, but I drank the water to spare my life, as much as an ocean at a time. The only thing, Bunson, that I expect you to understand about the realm you now tread is that you'll never understand it at all. I'm not evil as a result of my existence. I exist, Bunson, because I am evil.
Nah, no. There's no way. Someone would have told me.
Oh, Ariel? Your idiot friend Mervyn? Who would have told you? When I am one of but 3 ancients who have had access to the central time point. You may have friends in high places, Bunson, but I am high places.
The man who would be king, or in your case...
Not would be, Bunson.
You ain't God, Captain MT, no matter what you think of yourself. of your crazy scheme to portray an Antichrist on Earth. Yous ain't God. No matter how far yous evolved, yous ain't ever gonna be God either.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I own many mirrors, my little bear.
I's told you once before, I's not your little bear. I can see this is going nowhere. It's time we's end this, Captain MT.
How? Are you planning on leaving me here, in this timeless void? You know I'll just escape.
Oh, I knows that, Captain. I knows it. B-machine, lock onto temporal coordinates, and engage.
You should have left me in the Valley of Fire, Bunson. At least that way you could be sure to be rid of me for a time. Yet here on Earth, I can leave at any time I want. There's no wall keeping me here. You are a fool, Bunson.
As may be, but you's gonna stay here, and you's gonna stay here for as long as I's want you to.
Indeed. What force do you possess which will accomplish this miracle?
You's about to find out, Captain. Marvin, it's time. Slide it to me. Commander Swirly, it's time.
Well, Orville. You certainly got yourself in a heap of mess this time, haven't you?
Orville?
Why, look at yourself, Orville. You are certainly a sight to behold. When was the last time you cut your fingernails? This frock of yours is a filthy, disgusting mess. When was the last time you did your laundry? Your scalp is peeling again, and you probably haven't been washing behind your ears either. If I've told you once, I've told you a million times, Orville. If you ever want to attract a mate and get married, you've got to present yourself in decent fashion. Why, look at you. When was the last time you even had a bath? I could smell you even before your commander sent me here. Well, Mother's here to look after you once again. We've got time enough to make up for the fact that you abandoned me to search for those earthworms. But that's all in the past, as I've got a forgiving nature. Now, we'll concentrate on the future. Never you mind worrying about anything anymore, Orville. Mother's here, and she's not going to leave your side for one moment for the rest of your life. Or until you finally settle down and get married, whichever happens first.
Bunson, you can't do this to me. This isn't humane.
Well, I ain't exactly human, is I, Captain? After all, I's just a little bear.
But you don't know the horror. When she's in proximity to me, all my powers are cancelled out. I can't escape her. That's why I had her locked up searching for earthworms. Gold cancels out her ability to cancel me out.
Why, how fortunate to know, Captain. As Earth has very little gold these days. Looks like you're stuck here, doesn't it?
Maybe I'm stuck here, but you're forgetting something, aren't you, Bunson?
I forget lots of things at times, Captain. But so long as you're here and you can't harm anyone, that's all that matters to me.
Yes, I am here, and for the time powerless. But another is here also, Bunson. The one you've so conveniently forgotten about. My agent.
Of destruction.
Unless you want my agent of destruction unleashed on Waterford, you'll free me this instant and send my mother back to the fields of gold.